Welcome to Trustee Talk. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dick Murgatroyd, and our guest today is the president of the Anderson Township Board of Trustees, Andrew Pappas. Mr. Pappas, it's always a pleasure to see you.
I don't know who Mr. Pappas is, but
I don't either, but I wanted to make you feel good. But you're looking well.
It's summer. It's summer. I'm trying to dress cool. It's a bit warm out there today.
It is.
So, but
It is.
you look great. How have you been?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty
It's
good.
been a little while.
It has been. I haven't seen you since the Anderson Township, Anderson days.
Oh yeah, over there we did run into each other.
I
in
left
Anderson
just before the storm.
Deluge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was waiting for the arc to appear. That was
Yeah.
quite the.
Me too.
That was quite the rain that we had.
Yeah.
That one Anderson at that first night, but then it cleared up the next two nights, and it was really nice.
Yeah, the rest of the weekend was good.
The rest of the weekend cooperated nicely, and
And we
it was-
got the talent show in, which was
Yeah.
what I was involved with.
a
so
lot of
that-
good talent here.
And we had, it was. Actually, it was one of our better ones, I think. They had some
I wouldn't
good
make the
people.
cut, so
No,
they didn't ask me to
they
be
didn't
on
ask you to
stage.
do anything.
Nothing.
Sing or nothing.
Smart.
No tap dancing, nothing.
Tap
They,
toes.
they had some good talent this year.
Impressive.
The judges, I think, wouldn't have wanted to
Tough job.
be in their job.
Yeah,
And
it's a
that
tough
was-
job. It's, I mean,
They had some excellent. Seems like they always go. It goes. This year was a lot of singers. I think last year was a lot of dancers.
goes in cycles.
It goes in cycles, I think, and it's hard to me.
And when you can do neither, you
Yeah,
really don't have
really.
much business being up there. So I lip sync. And the best singing's done in the shower.
Well, listen, you might have been able to make it, man. I
Oh,
tell
they
you.
need to put a shower up there, and then I'd be good. That's where I'm doing my best singing. But anyway, I digress. No, it was a good
I'll
week.
recommend that next year.
Yeah, we'll think.
But it was a
Good event. It was a
yeah,
good. It was a good
event.
time. Anderson Days is always a pleasure, just for Anderson to get together. We had the news out there talking about the election coming up. They had some questions on the election because
Good.
the Republicans had a booth, the Democrats had a booth, and it was just a really good way to showcase Anderson Township. The Parks Department does a great job. Park District does a
They
great
do.
job. They really need hats off to everyone that helped put that on. Ken Kushner and the rest of the Park District, they really deserve kudos. Our staff that donates their own time to manning our
Yeah.
Anderson Township booth, that's important, and we acknowledge that and we appreciate that. Most people don't even realize that
Yeah.
a lot of the people there are there on their own personal time, not getting paid to be there. And I think it's wonderful that it's just a way for the township to come together. And then at the last night on Sunday, a fantastic fireworks display, probably the
see that, but
well,
yeah.
best bang for the buck. I mean, I'm not kidding.
It really is. It really is, and it's got they cover there's something for everybody. The kids, there's lots of stuff for kids to do.
Kids are happy with the
and,
rides. Adults are happy with some of the entertainment. What they have, the bands that we have there. Decent food. There was a lot of vendors there,
Yeah.
different vendors. The food was actually very, very
It
good.
was.
As I said, it capped off on Sunday night with a fireworks display, which is really, if you are there watching it and sitting there, it's really very, very well done.
It
I mean,
is good.
very well done.
Yeah,
And-
I've seen in the past. I mean, it's one of the better fireworks.
yeah. It's just a surprise how good it
It
is.
really is. It really is, and and the thing is that it's a pretty nice show too. It's not a short little.
No. It was a long one, and
Yeah.
so anyway, that's under our belt now, and we can plan on what happens next year, and we just have just a good way to. It's just a tradition here in the summertime. It pretty much signals.
In the summer.
Well, yeah, in the beginning of the political season.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it really does, because I mean, it really, in Anderson Township, after that, we start seeing yard signs pop up, and everyone now focuses on different issues that we have coming up for November.
Well, and then I think too, but August comes around, then people are thinking about school.
Oh,
kids
yeah.
are going back to school.
People are shifting
getting
back to school
their
right now.
Routines and things of that sort. So,
Well,
I mean,
for a lot of parents, it's the most wonderful time of the year.
yeah. Parents been waiting.
Kids are dreading. Parents are anticipating. It's just funny, summertime's the most anticipated time of the year for both parents and kids. But I think that going back to school is, you've had now a couple of months with the kids at home every day and trying to figure out, what do we do
Entertain them.
today? What do
Yep.
we do today? And
Yep.
it's just, now they're at Target buying or wherever buying their back to school
my gosh.
supplies
Oh,
and
yeah.
loading up the baskets and saying, only 10 more days till you go back to school. It's really exciting to see the kids looking for, and you know what, the kids are excited to be going on to that next grade.
I think the kids even look forward to it after
Yeah,
a
they
while,
do.
because I
They
think
do.
they get bored after a while too, and I think that's kind of like, at least they know they got something to do and they're going to see a lot of their friends. and
Isn't
then-
it funny to change how your perspectives change when you were that age? Summer seemed like endless.
Forever.
For endless.
Yeah.
And then now it just,
I mean, it's gone before it even starts.
you get maybe one trip
I know.
and then it's gone. You're back to school.
Yeah, I mean, it is, in fact, the weeks go by so fast anymore. I mean,
Well, weeks or days.
they're, it's like, yeah, it's crazy. It really is.
It really is, and it's. I hope it slows down at some point, but
Doesn't.
I don't think it will.
No, let's take my word for it.
I'll take.
And you have a ways to go to catch up with me.
I think I'm catching up to you pretty quick. So,
I don't know about that.
but it's now so. We'll be looking forward to that. Those and it's been a mild summer here in Ohio.
Hasn't been bad.
Hasn't been bad. We've had a couple of hot days. We did have some. We've only had rough weather once. We had some bad storms a few weeks ago that I would like to talk about at some point during today's show. But we're getting now back to, we're getting back into the groove as far as everyone's going back to work. Teachers are going back to work. People are getting back into the summertime slowness will be over, and we're going to be in the political season, hot and heavy here.
Yep.
And we have some political issues to talk about, some levee issues to talk about, and it's just time to get back to work. And football season's starting. I think the Bengals start next week.
Yep, they do.
We'll have some nice fall days coming
So
when the
we'll have-
when
yeah.
the
we
weather
still
changes.
got a lot of warm weather coming
Yeah.
too, because the way it is around here. But you're right. Everybody gets kind of back in the routine of things, and I think people kind of welcome that because they've got some.
I like the change of seasons. You know what? About the time it's what's nice about Ohio is about the time you're tired of it being cold, it warms up.
It
About
is,
the
yeah.
you're tired of being hot, it cools off.
Now,
So
winter seems to lag a lot for me. I hate winter, so I don't even want to get there.
I can understand that.
I think the shortest month of the year, February, is the longest month of the
It
year.
is. It seems the days are, the dark. The hardest part of winter is
Is
the
the
dark
dark.
days.
Hate the dark.
Short days are not good on the psyche. They're not good on people in
Yeah.
general. But thankfully, it is the shortest month of the year.
Well, yeah. The long days, of course, the long days that you tend to work, I tend to work more. If
Well,
it's- if
I'm
it's
going to bed.
daylight-
It's still light outside.
Yeah, if it's daylight, I think, well, I can work. It's not late, so I can work a little. And all of a sudden, it's 10 o'clock.
And you're still. I need to wind down and get to
See.
bed. Yeah, I'm the same way. I am the same way. But it's funny. It's like I feel funny going to bed when it's light out. But
I do too.
it's 9 o'clock. It's time to start winding down.
Yeah, well, you got to.
And then in February it's 5 o'clock and
Yeah, really.
it's dark and you're like, I've got to make it till 9.
Yeah, really.
But
Can I
anyway,
laugh?
that's right. Can I?
Speaking of summer, road projects
Yeah.
have been many, many, many. How are they
Long
going?
days.
Yeah.
We have been struggling with the road project at 5 Mile and Beachmont, and by struggling I mean it is causing some major traffic snafus because they've had to re-signal the lights, so they're different, so that drivers are getting used to them. We've lost a lane, a turn lane. We've really, and I've advised people online and when I'm talking to residents, I'm like, look, if you can avoid the intersection for the next few weeks, avoid the intersection.
to.
Give the intersection a break, give the workers a break. It's not a project that we have. I want to tell the residents, this is a state project, so we don't have any oversee
Right.
or oversight of the project. Now, we have conversations with the contractor, but we aren't paying the contractor, so we really have no hold on him. And then last week, was it last week or the week before, we had a dump truck try to
Oh, yeah.
drive southbound on 5 Mile with his dump in the up position, and got a lesson in physics when his his bed encountered the telephone lines and then broke 2 power poles. So that shut down southbound 5 Mile for about 12 hours.
It was, yeah.
But my hat's off to Duke Energy. They jumped into the mix quickly. They replaced the poles quickly. They contacted whoever needed, thankfully, by the grace of God, nobody was electrocuted because those power lines could have come down.
Absolutely.
And they didn't. We had the phone lines came down. I believe we had one gentleman that was stuck in a car because they didn't know if those were power lines or phone lines. So out of safety's sake, he stayed in his car. Probably was a long hour or two for him. But thankfully, nobody was injured, nobody was hurt, and although it was a large mess traffic-wise and commute-wise, and some of the businesses there were affected because obviously the power went out.
Our building was out.
Was your building was out,
Yep.
and then the phones were out for sure.
Phones were out.
So it was it's hard to do business in that environment.
Very difficult. Lucky for us, we're remote. We can remote, so I went home and worked at home.
It just made a tough, hot day even worse.
did.
So we weren't pleased about that, but accidents happen. As I said, nobody was injured. Hopefully that won't occur again. We are moving on the project.
What's there? Have they got a timeline at this point?
I believe, yes. You answered your question, yes. They do have a timeline.
And it is, we don't know what it is.
I think they're shooting for this fall. I think they're shooting for this fall. I know they're making progress. They did a lot of the underground stuff. A lot of the major utility work has been finished. Some of the drains have been relocated. Now I see they're forming up. I was past there today. I'm through that intersection 3 or 4 times a day.
I am too.
So I try to see what's going on. I see they're forming the curbs. Once they get the pavement laid, it'll go pretty quick from then on. It's just weather dependent. We have been good on the weather. We've been getting some showers here lately, but we haven't had days and days of bad weather.
No,
So hopefully, and they're working nights. They're working.
Yeah, no, they're working long hours.
It's just unfortunate that that's our main intersection, and that's the one that's being worked on. So, again, indulge the residents to be as patient as possible. If you can reroute to just in that one area, if you can reroute to Forest or Clough and just bypass that area entirely, that's great. That'll cut down on the congestion. But old habits are hard to break. You get on Beachmont Avenue and you're like, well, I'm going out Beachmont, and you kind of forget till you get there that, oh my, I forgot that it's.
Because you get a lot of backup. I mean, just people trying to get through that intersection.
Yeah.
Which you see, usually not a problem, but it is now. I mean,
it is now. It is a problem. 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock at night, it's a problem.
Yeah,
especially if you're headed, out Beachmont. If you're headed eastbound on Beachmont, it is a problem. Westbound as well. It's just it's called construction for a reason, and there's a reason we're asking people to avoid it.
But when it's done,
theoretically, when it's done,
it's
going to be the second intersection of its type in Ohio. And it's designed to alleviate some of the congestion at that intersection. We'll see how it works out, and let's hope that it works out as planned and designed. And I think it'll take some getting used to. I asked residents to go to the township website. There's a computer-generated animation of what the intersection will be like, and you can become more comfortable with it. Let's just hope it works out the way it's supposed to. You can design things on paper but until it's put into implementation, you really don't know how it's going to be received.
It always takes everybody a little while to just become used to something new like that.
Yeah.
But that intersection, being as busy as it is, it's got to improve it.
I've seen the traffic counts. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't remember if that's the first or second, but it's within the top 3 busiest intersections in Cincinnati.
It's got to be.
And so if you take that into account and you understand that, it'll give you some perspective as to why it's an important project to get that intersection as smooth and as flowing as well as possible.
Well, you got 2 major corridors between 5 Mile and Beachmont.
Yeah. And the other thing is we have so much. I'm not going to delve into that, but there's a lot going on in that little block area. We've got construction trucks working on the town center. We've got projects all over the place, down the ways, down Beachmont a little bit. We've got some development going on there. I mean, we've discussed that ad nauseum, but it just makes the congested area even more congested right now with that construction on top of it. But it's, that's the price of progress. So
well, the town center's coming along.
Yeah,
it looks
Town
like
center's
it's-
coming along. I've heard
everything's shaping up there pretty well.
the date on the movie theater, I believe, is the early in November, with the target of wanting to be done before Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have some, and there'll be some neat new places going up there. So I'm looking forward to
It
that.
looks good.
Yeah,
It really does.
it's going to look great. It's going
Yeah.
to look fantastic. I hope it becomes the focal point of the township. Definitely going to be an entertainment district that you can go
Well,
catch a movie, grab a bite to eat.
I got to believe it'll be a huge draw
I hope so.
because the closest movie around here is
Eastgate.
Eastgate. And I think that's going to be a big,
I think it'll be a big draw. I think it's going to, rather than you feeling like you have to leave the township, you'll be like, well, you know what? Let's go catch a movie. It's right up the street.
yeah.
Make it
And
convenient for our
parking,
residents.
it looks like, parking's going to be easy. You're not going to be, it's not so congested. So,
No, I think it'll be great. And so, we've just got a lot of things going on.
well,
It's price of progress.
I was just going to say, progress does cause a little bit of,
Sometimes people get
frustration, but
frustrated. I've noticed some incidents of aggravation at 5 Mile. As I'm looking around, I can see people are, agitated in the cars next to me. Oh, I got to stop here. But it won't last forever. It'll be
Yeah.
done, and then it'll be a distant memory, and we'll be happily going on our
well, and I
merry
think
way.
part of it too is because just because of the nature of what they were doing. Sometimes a lane was there, and sometimes
Yeah,
it wasn't
you
there.
just didn't know. In the morning, it might have been there. In the
and
afternoon, not.
It's gone.
And then they've been having a habit of taking away, especially westbound.
Yeah.
They've been taking away a lane there on the other side
Yeah.
by BP, and that's frustrating because then clearly traffic backs up going out of
Yeah.
Kroger.
big time.
So as I said, if you can think of a interesting or new way to get in and out of there, if you want to go straight down Forest and then cut across and hit 5 Mile southbound, or if you want to cut over and go northbound on 5 Mile and Clough out of the center rather than hitting Beachmont and 5 Mile, I think it'd be in your best
I
interest.
use the Forest a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
that's as fast as anything. By the time you do it, you haven't wasted much time.
I do.
in the
I
process.
think so as well.
We've got Anderson Senior Center is pretty well under control.
The senior, we made a commitment to our seniors. We heard loud and clear here, and the trustees heard loud and clear that they wanted the senior center to remain open. And the township has stepped up at additional cost. It wasn't free. We've undertaken a lot of the operations there.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have made a fairly seamless transition to us running it. We've heard nothing but good feedback. I believe the participation rate is, we've had people that haven't been there for a while that are now coming back to the senior center. I'll take our hat off to our staff. Really, our staff did a wonderful job exploring all the options, all the staff here at the town center, at the government center. We really stepped up and honored our pledge to stand behind our seniors. And I'd like to remind everybody that, not only is it obviously for the seniors, but that facility is also able to be rented out for weddings, social functions, whatever you want. And you can call the township here and reserve it for functions, because it's just a great little building that's centrally located right in the middle of the township. It's easy to get to for everybody. And if you are in need of extra space for a party, or you don't want to have a party in your garage, or a wedding reception, whatever it is, it really dresses up nice, and it's a great little area with
Is
adequate
that
parking.
new? I mean, was that?
No, I just don't think they pushed it as much
Is there
before,
mo-
and I think now
yeah.
we're pushing it more because we're more involved there. We
Well,
have
and
the-
that and the fact that people have a tough time finding places to do things like that.
It really is, especially if it's where you've gotten maybe something slipped under the radar and you've forgotten about it.
Yeah.
You try to find something not necessarily last minute, but without a lot of lead time. Put it on your list, because you can say, hey, I can have a graduation party there, and I don't have the mess of my house and all these people in my house, and it's centrally located. Everybody can come. Parking's easy. You don't have to have 100 cars on your
Oh, yeah.
street. I mean,
No,
it's really worth it.
What's the hours of the center as far as when the seniors are?
Oh, it varies. I mean, but
Does
you
it?
can call 688-8400 and they'll give you the information you need, or go to our
Okay.
website. But, we have, I couldn't go down all the things that we have going on there, but we have so many, and it's morphing as, we're being flexible as far as what the needs are. If something's not working, we'll flip
those
it.
kind of things can keep growing. I mean, as
We
people-
want our seniors to know that there's a lot going on there, and we want you to stay here in the township.
Most of it's probably weekdays, I would imagine, for seniors, so the weekends probably are
Not really the
available
late
for-
nights. Kind of dies off at 8
they
o'clock.
don't- Yeah, they don't like the dark. We like to be home
To the wee hours of 7:30 at night,
That's right. So it's plenty open.
I'm just kidding. Probably stay up later than I do, but
Well, I'm glad I'm glad you're doing that. There's a huge need for that, and
There is a
and
huge
I
need
think,
for it.
More and more people.
that was one of the busiest trustee meetings we've ever had as far as attendance. We had
I'm
the
sure.
whole upper building open, the whole trustee meeting room open, and it was full, and we heard senior after senior, resident after resident, and their messages were heard loud and clear, and we've honored our pledge, and I'm just glad that we're able to do it. Now, obviously there was a cost with it.
Yep.
Everything has a cost, but it's one of those things that they're residents and they deserve to have their voices heard.
I agree, and they've earned that.
Sure they have.
The right to have that, that kind of service available. for
Sure they
them. So
have.
I think,
Absolutely.
speaking of, I guess, costs and things,
Yeah.
I know you got a levy that's
Yeah.
coming up in November. Where are you on that?
Well, we have to put a levy on the ballot. Nobody likes to, but I'd like to just remind the residents that, number one, you expect a high level of safety services here in Anderson Township, and we've managed to take a levy that had a useful life initially of 5 years and stretch it to 8 years. And I say, and that might even be understating it, because the premise of the levy early on when it was passed, before my tenure, was that the costs of the Sheriff's Department were going to be X. Well, immediately the next year, after Silas was on his way out, the costs of the Sheriff's Department were X times 2 or close to that. I mean, they've gone up substantially. So the premise behind the initial levy was flawed right off the get-go. So you probably could have said that the safety levy initially probably then would have had a 3-year useful life. We stretched it to 8.
That's pretty good.
That's really good.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm not going to say it's a new, it is a new levy, yes, but we're replacing, not replacing, but we're taking a levy that obviously is at the end of its life, and we're extending now a new levy to cover the costs of police and fire. It's a safety levy, and given everything that's going on, I don't think our residents are going to put safety at risk. We have the heroin epidemic, which is still front and center. We're seeing that being battled on the county level through efforts of the county. Josh has chaired a committee to try to address the heroin epidemic as well. He's doing a great job on that. We really are trying to be as proactive. We had another heroin summit here at the town center. We're trying to be as proactive rather than reactive as possible in fighting this.
Well, and that's eating up a lot of your resources.
It is. It
So,
is.
I mean, they're putting your law enforcement people in even more demand.
We see now it's a crazy world in which we live in nowadays. We're seeing a lot of violence directed against police officers,
Oh, yeah.
and EMS responders, and they put their lives online every day for us. They really do. At any time, something bad can happen to them.
That's right.
And we want to make sure. Now, we've always looked. There was the discussion. Well, would it be cheaper to form our own police department rather than subcontract with Hamilton County? And for the time being, the answer is just clearly no. It's not. The infrastructure costs alone are staggering. We get a great level of service from Hamilton County. We're happy with the level of service we get from them. Could the cost be cheaper? Sure. No one's happy when your costs go up, but I think we get what we pay for, and I think that our residents appreciate the level of service that they have. When you call 911, you're not going to say, well, how much is this costing me? You
Yeah.
want a cop or a police
Yeah,
officer there ASAP.
Yeah.
And I'm on Beachmont every day, and I see these guys flying around because it's the main corridor through town, and I just want them to know we appreciate everything they do, and those services cost money. and we have to cover those costs rather than borrow from TIF dollars or cover the shortfall some other way.
Well, and their costs don't stay level either.
No.
I mean, their costs go up, equipment costs, things of that sort. Plus, and they have a tremendous presence in Anderson County. I mean, you're really comfortable because you see.
You see the same officers, it's not a
you see them a
revolving
lot.
door.
Yeah,
Right, you see them a lot, you
lot.
recognize their face. When they're driving through your neighborhood, they get to know who you are, you get to know who they
Yeah.
are. And we've had a great relationship with Hamilton County. They've done a great job, and we want to make sure we maintain that level of service for our residents and don't start cutting back in something I see as a basic function of government, which is safety.
It is. And this levy is designated strictly for that
Yes.
purpose. I mean, it's not something that
No, it's not
goes
something
for anything else.
No,
so.
it doesn't go for anything else.
Now, when on something like that, what is the? Do you put a timeline on that levy as far as
on
how,
the useful life
on
of
the
it?
useful life of it?
I think it's another 5 years. I could be
Is it?
wrong, but I don't think we like to go too. Some of the costs are variable, and we don't know. How do we know what the costs are going to go up? And that's a premise of the levy.
Yeah.
Based upon forecasts, I could be wrong, but I believe it's another 5 years. But that's something that'll be.
That's usually about most of them are.
That's
It's
usually.
hard to project.
You
much.
get further than that, it gets real
Well,
murky.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, you will manage to make it go a little bit longer, but look
did.
at what that was a stretch.
That was a stretch, and it was something that they, we did. We put off a levy. Would I have preferred it been last year? Possibly, but at the end of the day, it is what it is, and I like to pay for things. I like citizens to know what we're doing and what we're paying for,
Absolutely.
and I don't like to hide costs of anything from the residents because then there's no ambiguity about what's going on.
Right.
If the residents think that that's too much and they vote the levy down, then we're going to have to make some hard decisions about the level of service that we provide here in the township or for public safety. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't either. I think that in this day and age, I think people treasure that public safety more than anything.
We still are a very affordable community as far
Yeah,
as
you
cost
are,
of living
you are,
goes,
and-
and I
and-
think we do a
and-
good job with the public tax dollars.
And the thought that you're going to, cut back on anything along those lines in this environment we're in,
Yeah,
I think people are willing to pay for it.
it is a funny time we're living
It
in,
really is.
and I see things I never thought I would see before, where I have violence directed. Well, violence is inherent in any open society, but I never thought I'd see targeting of police
No.
officers. I never thought I would see that in my life, and unfortunately today we're seeing that more and more, and we want to make sure we keep the township as safe as possible for everybody, especially our police officers. Our police are the line between civilization and
Yes.
anarchy.
Yes.
I mean, that's just the way it is.
Absolutely.
So as far as I'm concerned, if I'm going to err on a side here, I'm going to have the best police and fire protection that I can afford.
Well, I mean, it's probably the best investment you make, and and no community is really absolutely protected
No,
from something happening, but you want to be prepared for it when you do, and that's the most important thing, I think.
we want to make sure that we have the best level of public safety that we can, with in obviously in common sense as well. But we want to make sure that when you call 911, you have a fast response time, that you feel like someone's going to be there, that if you go on vacation, you need someone to check on your house
Absolutely.
or whatever, that we have those services available, and we're getting that now. But it is a
It's a stretch of resources.
it is, and it's an interesting time which we live in that is requiring more and more police presence
yeah.
to maintain the same level of safety, because some of the crime out there is getting more and more brazen.
It is.
And we want to make sure that, we let people know, we let the bad guys know, what, Anderson Township is not the place that you want to be playing around in.
Which is nothing wrong with that.
No, I don't think
Is
so.
there? I mean, I guess they can go to the website, or is there a place if they got a question about this? that they
Obviously,
can-
the website is the best place to go for any answers. There will also be a levy campaign started here in the next few weeks that we will get information out as far as what, additional valuation, the additional taxes you're going to be paying for per $100,000. All those questions will be answered.
Good.
The actual life that we foresee this levee taking place, or the life of the levee, how long we think it'll last, and all those questions will be answered. But we need to just educate the public as to what we're doing, and I want people to know what they're paying for, because I'm not just going to ask them carte blanche for money and say, oh, just trust me. We're going to show you the dollars. We're going to show you what you're getting, and let the public decide.
Well, I think if you do that, I think it's a whole matter of education.
Yeah.
And I think if they understand it, I think they're inclined to vote for something like that. I think if when, as you said, when they think you're trying to pull the wool over their eyes, so to speak, they're less inclined. So I think the more information they have, the more comfortable they are, and the more they'll talk about it, and the more
It's a safe area. We want to keep it safe. We want to make sure that, as I said, we provide you the best level of police and fire protection that we can, reasonably speaking. Obviously, you can always spend more money, but at some point you reach the law of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
And we don't want to live in a quote-unquote police state, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure that, if there's an accident, you have a quick response time. You're not stuck in a car. As I said, the gentleman was stuck on Beachmont the other day, and God only knows what he was thinking when he was sitting there with all these wires hanging around his car, but he knew that quickly there was going to be a response, and somebody was going to be there to help him get out of the car.
And that's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line.
All right, sir. Well, we just have run out of time. It has been
I
another
don't know how it goes by
enjoyable
so fast.
hour. It's like those days in the.
Just sails by,
It
and hours
sails
or
right
minutes,
by.
and
What can I say?
I don't know. It must be you.
It's always a pleasure, as you well know. Every
I always
time
have fun.
you're
I
on.
love it. I
Every
love
time
trustee
you're on.
talk. I love it. I love
And,
interacting here.
And we thank you for what you do
Oh,
for the people of Anderson Township.
well, I just hope that we, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I just hope that we continue to provide them the services they expect, and I just want them to know how much we appreciate given the opportunity to serve.
And that's all you can ask
That's all
for.
I can ask for.
You know where to find him, folks, if you're looking for him. It's easy to find. Well, I take that back.
I'd be in disguise.
For sure. Thanks for being here. And thank you for joining us and sharing your day with us also. Enjoy the rest of your day, if you will. And I'm Dick Murgatroyd, and on behalf of our producer and our director and our cameraman and everything else that he does, Shane Reinert, we thank you and invite you to join us for our next edition of Trustee Talk. And usually, I guess it's D. I'm not sure if D is up next or not, but I think it's usually D Stone following you. So
I don't know the rotation. I wait for the phone call.
I try to keep track of those things. But anyway, somebody will be here on the next Trustee
You'll
Talk.
be here.
And I'll be here, and I hope you'll be here. In the meantime, enjoy your day. Thanks for joining us.